Once upon a time, in a magical land called Stardust Valley, where the tree leaves shone like silver and the daytime sky danced in sweet pastel colors, lived a wonderful group of friends. Everyone in this valley absolutely loved having sweet dreams. One of the sweetest, fluffiest residents of this valley was a little unicorn named Poppy. Poppy's coat was as white as freshly fallen snow, and her mane and tail were pale pink and purple, exactly like sweet candyfloss. Her magical horns sparkled brilliantly whenever she giggled. Do you know what Poppy's greatest superpower was? Sleeping. Poppy was the unicorn who slept the longest, deepest, and sweetest sleeps in the entire history of Stardust Valley. She loved sleeping so much because the worlds she saw in her dreams were even more colorful and magical than the real world. Her friends in the valley, Barnaby the bouncy rabbit, Oliver the wise owl, and Robin the little songbird, loved playing hide-and-seek and running around all day. But Poppy would usually curl up in her cloud-soft bed before the sun even set. "Poppy, wouldn't you like to get up and watch the glowing bugs dance in the sky with us?" asked Barnaby one evening. Poppy did a massive yawn. "Oh, Barnaby, the glowing bugs are lovely, but the glowing flowers in my dream garden are so much more magical," she said, pulling her fluffy duvet up to her chin. Because there was a secret place Poppy dreamed of visiting every night, a place that only appeared in the deepest of sleeps, the magical dream garden. One night, when the moon rose like a giant silver plate and all the stars in the valley began to twinkle, Poppy curled up in her bed nice and early. She closed her eyes, took a deep, relaxing breath, and let herself drift into a sweet sleep. Z Z Z Z Z, Z Z Z Z Z. Just as Poppy reached the deepest part of her sleep, everything around her began to change. She wasn't in her bed anymore. She found herself standing on a fluffy cloud, where tiny specks of sparkling icing sugar floated in the air. Right in front of her stood a giant, sparkling, seven-colored rainbow bridge, much bigger than anything she had ever seen in Stardust Valley. The red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, and violet stripes were so vibrant, it looked as if giant fruit sweets had been lined up across the sky. The surface of the bridge was as smooth as a magical silk slide. Poppy excitedly made her horn glow. "My bridge is ready," she said. "The path to the magical dream garden." Poppy sat right at the top of the bridge. "Are you ready?" 3, 2, 1. Whee! Scattering golden stardust everywhere, she zoomed down the red stripe. The wind tickled her face, and her giggles echoed through her dream. As she slid down, it smelled absolutely delicious. The red stripe smelled of strawberries, the orange stripe of sweet oranges, and the yellow stripe of fresh lemons. Surrounded by a colorful breeze, she slid down, down, down the sky, laughing all the way. And finally, poof! She landed on something incredibly soft. When she opened her eyes, she realized she was in the most wonderful, magical place she had ever seen. This was the legendary magical dream garden. When she stood up, Her hooves sank in slightly, just like stepping onto a giant, fluffy cushion. The ground wasn't made of dirt, it was made of pink candyfloss clouds. Looking around, she noticed the leaves on the trees were made of mint sweets, and the water in the little river flowing past was made of cool, sweet fruit juice. The river made a very funny sound as it flowed, gloop, gloop, gloop. In the branches of the trees, there were animals she had never seen before. Glowing purple elephants fluttered about with tiny wings, and green squirrels nibbled on scoops of ice cream instead of acorns. The air smelled beautifully of freshly baked biscuits. As Poppy looked around in amazement, a lovely, floating dream fairy appeared beside her. Her name was Faye. Faye's wings were transparent and sparkling, just like a butterfly's. "Welcome, Poppy," said Faye, her voice sounding like a tiny, tinkling bell. "You are the unicorn who loves sleeping the most to ever reach the garden." Poppy smiled, her horn sparkling. "This place is brilliant. But I just love sleeping. How did I get to such a wonderful place?" Faye giggled. "That is the magic. Only those who truly love sleeping, who never stop daydreaming, and who keep sweet joy in their hearts can find the rainbow bridge. Our garden is full of wonders just for you." Faye led Poppy to the most special corner of the garden, the field of wishing flowers. Each flower here was a different color, glowing brightly just like in Poppy's dreams. "These flowers have a secret," whispered Faye. "If you stand in front of a wishing flower, close your eyes, and make the sweetest wish from your heart, the flower will change color and scatter your wish across the garden as dream dust." Excitedly, Poppy stood in front of the brightest pink wishing flower. She squeezed her eyes tightly shut. She thought about all the love in her heart, her wonderful friends in Stardust Valley, and the cozy, peaceful feeling she got when she slept. Her magical horn quivered slightly, and then began to shine with a brilliant, golden light. Ching! The pink wishing flower began to glow with Poppy's wish. First it turned orange, then green, and finally, a brilliant, sparkling blue. Slowly, glowing blue dream dust rose from the center of the flower and drifted across the entire garden. The purple elephants and green squirrels began to play even more happily. Time flowed very differently in the magical dream garden. There was no day or night, only magic and wonders. Poppy played hide-and-seek with Faye and her new friends. Hiding behind pink clouds was very easy. They threw soft candyfloss balls at each other, and drank happily from the fruit juice river. She laughed so much, ran so fast, and bounced so high that eventually, Poppy started to feel a sweet, sleepy tiredness. The candyfloss clouds in the garden slowly began to turn beautiful shades of gold and orange. The whole valley was getting ready to rest. "It is time to go home now," said Poppy, doing a massive yawn. "But how will I get back?" "The rainbow bridge has gone," she asked in her dream. Just then, a very gentle, warm evening breeze blew through the garden, whoosh. The breeze gently lifted the large, blue candyfloss cloud beneath her, just like a cradle. The cloud began to float up towards the sky, exactly like a flying, soft magic carpet. Poppy lay down on the fluffy cloud. As her eyes slowly closed, she waved to Faye. "Thank you, Faye, that was the sweetest dream of my life." The flying cloud carried her gently all the way back to her cozy bed in Stardust Valley. When the first golden rays of the morning sun tickled the trees, Poppy was still asleep. But she wasn't huddled under her duvet anymore. She had a massive, sweet smile on her face. When her friends Barnaby, Oliver, and Robin came into her room, they saw her lovely, happy smile. "Wake up, Poppy," chirped Robin. "You missed the glowing bugs dancing in the sky, but the sun is out now." Poppy slowly opened her eyes, smiled a huge smile, and her horns sparkled brilliantly. "Hello Barnaby, hello Oliver, hello Robin," she said. "The glowing bugs are lovely, but the rainbow bridge, the candyfloss clouds, and the blue wishing flower in my sleep are so much more magical. I know now that sleeping isn't just resting, it is traveling to the most colorful wonderland inside your own mind." From that day on, Poppy was the happiest unicorn in Stardust Valley. During the day, she loved running and playing with her friends, perhaps a little bit more than before. And at night, she happily curled up in her cozy bed, remembering her amazing adventure to the magical dream garden. And whenever a little child in the valley said they were afraid of going to sleep, Poppy would smile warmly and say, "Don't be afraid of sleep. Closing your eyes is just the beginning of a beautiful journey to your very own wonderland. You just have to be patient and wait for the magical rainbow bridge." The end.